Hi there, this is Steve Spurrier. You can join University of Florida Hall of Famer Shane Matthews and also the two-time SEC Player of the Year every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, opinions, and some of the biggest names in sports. You can find him on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or you can watch him live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
Good morning. You made it, folks. It's Friday. It's PodUp with Matthews in the morning, coming to you live from the International Diamond Center studios. Locations across the state of Florida and right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. That is International Diamond Center. We got JC. We have Heath Cline from what is it? The 680 The Fan up in
God,
the Chuck Oliver show up in
Yeah.
the ATL.
Yeah.
He will join us, give us his thoughts on the Falcons, the Braves, and the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah.
Kicks off here. So, JC, you're on the Titan
Yeah.
line, the courtesy of Comfort Team. It is nice to see JC is wearing a Peter Millar golf shirt.
Oh, I am. Yeah. I have all three colors. I have this one in blue. I have the same shirt
JC,
in
they
orange.
make about 1,000 of them.
Yeah, well, I have the
colors.
same pattern in orange, and I also bought a white one with some gray.
Hey, hang on. Never mind. That's probably FootJoy if you bought it at your Muni.
It is FootJoy. How did you know?
I thought it was Peter Millar because they have that logo on all the Peter Millar at the U.
Yeah, the FootJoys fit a little big, so since I've lost weight, I'm only a large now. But I think that's better than an XL. I'm taking all of my XLs and double XLs in the closet and mailing them to Coach Nichols in Mississippi. He's going to get every one of them. There's going to be about 13 to 15 to 20 shirts. But QB, man, so last night we had high school football kickoff in the area last night. Isn't that great? The time is here. We're here.
Yeah, everybody, a lot of teams played their exhibition, whatever, kickoff classic they call it.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of games tonight where it's either, two teams playing each other or the whole round robin format. But yeah, next week is Georgia started the official season last night. Well, tonight, I should say. There was a televised game on ESPN2.
Yeah.
Buford versus Milton in front of about 15, 20,000 people out there. And there's $62 million facility that they just opened up. People should see the old facility they moved out of. It's better than anything in the state of Florida. Their old facility.
Well, I don't know, man. The GHSFSAAA and the FHSAAA are very different, I suppose, in the sport.
I would compare it to this, JC.
Okay, let's compare.
So the Georgia High School Activities Association is equivalent to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Ah, okay.
The FHSA is equivalent to a small 1A high school.
Yeah.
It is
priorities.
I can't even tell you how bad it is in the state of Florida compared to Georgia.
And then they've got a school down in Fort Lauderdale that's private that gets to play against public schools that don't have the same advantage.
Yeah,
that's really fair. Whoever decided that in the boardroom is really brilliant. So yeah, that's fair.
I mean, that's again, that is common sense. You do not let schools that are private that pay for athletes to now. The times have changed a little bit. A lot of public schools now are paying kids to come, but still, they do not have the money that St. Thomas Aquinas and some of these private schools. If they want to play them in the regular season and get their brains beat out, that's fine.
Right.
But when it comes to playoffs, it is private versus private, public versus public. It ain't that damn hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There are people, they just don't understand.
They don't. And
the state of Mississippi is the same way. Public plays public.
Yeah.
Private plays private for state titles. What the hell? How hard is that?
I agree. 1,000%. It's really not hard, and I don't know why they allow it. But this is a different world for me right now. I mean, I used to have children in high school.
I talk about this crap every freaking year, and it pisses me off because I deal with with Florida high schools, and I deal with a ton of Georgia schools. And Georgia schools.
It drives you nuts. It drives you nuts.
It drives me nuts.
And
Like I've told people multiple times, I love Gainesville.
Yes.
It's great to raise your kids here. But if I had known how bad it was for youth sports and high school sports, I would have never lived here. I swear to
Wait a
God.
minute, you just said it was great to raise your kids here,
It
but
is, but
but
not for the things that are important to me.
there you go. That's
I
that. I'm
mean,
glad you
I
qualified it that way.
think majority of the people that have kids that were athletes in multiple sports would agree 1,000%. All my baseball travel ball people, why do we live here? When we go to these other ballparks and in these
Yeah,
little cities, and it just anyway.
it's
There you have
baffling.
it.
Anyway,
So we just lost we lost our advertisement too for the Florida High School Athletic Association. I'm just kidding. We're not
one
a
goes out
sponsor.
the door, one comes in the door. Look
Yeah.
at it like that, QB.
Franklin says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, Caleb Banks is now in a boot. Some saying it's precautionary. Yeah, he's in a boot. So don't worry about it. It's fall camp, right?
It's
Fall
fall
camp.
camp, and he'll be walking off the field just fine in 2 weeks. I'm going to bet on that.
Yeah, he may or may not play in that game. JC, we can line
Right.
you up at the three technique and probably do
Yeah.
raise hell against the Sharks.
I think it's good that they're playing a team like this to start off, just to kind of get the kinks worked out. It was tough last year starting off the way they did. But, on Friday, August 29th, which is exactly 2 weeks from now, we have a football game in Waco, Texas, between Auburn and Baylor at 8 o'clock on Fox. That's 2 weeks away. And I looked at the TV schedule, dude. And I know most people watching this are going to be really dialed in to watch the Gators, and they should be. But on Saturday, August 30th, you're going to start the day at noon with Texas and Ohio State in the Sweatbox. It'll be an oven in Columbus, Ohio, in all likelihood. Then somehow Mississippi State and Southern Miss got together and decided they were also going to play in Hattiesburg at 12. Or is it in Hattiesburg? I think it is at
I don't know
12
where they're playing. I'm shocked they're playing this game.
at 11 o'clock. Yeah, I don't know. Mississippi State has nothing to really gain by this.
Nothing.
And then right. And then you have Alabama and Florida State and Tallahassee. That it'll be 90 degrees there. And then, of course, the Gators at 7. The evening game on ESPN, on ABC has LSU and Clemson at 7:30. So set your DVR for that, QB, because I'm sure you're going to want to watch those two quarterbacks play when you get home from the Florida game, if you can stay awake, or watch it on Sunday, because that's two guys who are going to be all about the Heisman and all this and that and the other, as Coach would say. This, that, and the other. And then the following week, QB, Florida is playing USF on the SEC network at 4:15. We all know that. And hey, man, thank God the Gators are not subjected to these noon kickoffs this year. That's going to be tremendous. They've already figured that out. It's amazing. And then, of course, in week 3, what a week 3 we have. Florida would be at LSU on the SEC network at 7:30. 7:30, man. And Mississippi and Arkansas, they haven't announced the time for that game. But Lane Kiffin raises hell about kicking off at noon. He absolutely despises it. He says it's not fair that he always has to kick off at 11 o'clock in the morning and LSU gets the night game every stinking week. I think he's right about that. Texas A&M will play Notre Dame at 7:30 on NBC. And then you have Georgia at Tennessee at 3:30 on ABC. That's all week 3, September 3rd. So before you know it, we'll already be in week 3, and it'll be September 13th. And these games, man, I think the reason why we have these new kickoffs, QB, one of the reasons is because they televise literally every team in just about every conference. So you have to have those times. But I always say put the lesser exciting matchups early and make the main event later. That's just the way it usually goes, right? I mean, that way it usually goes. I don't know why you.
Well, I think that's the way we'd like for it to go, but it doesn't go that way.
No, it doesn't. But why would you put the game of the day, Texas and Ohio State, on it? And it's over before anybody wakes up. I mean, it's crazy.
Text on the Titan Mar text line from Daryl. He says, "Good morning, guys. I was watching Buford versus Milton last night. Do you think Georgia high school football is better than Florida high school football?"
In what way?
Some good coaches. They got a lot of good players. The state's a lot bigger than Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Georgia just knows what they're doing when it comes to funds, support, and they got some good players. I watched a lot of that second half. There were a lot of good guys going to play major colleges on both teams. Comparing who has the better football, that's hard to do. Both have really good players, no question about that. I had something I wanted to read here and I can't find it now.
You love your Georgia high school football, though, dude.
I do, because it reminds me of my Mississippi days and how Mississippi's run.
Yeah, well,
and how Alabama's run.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I know for a fact in Alabama, they love their high school football. Friday nights are big. In Texas, it's like a national holiday on Friday night.
Yeah. I would say the best high school football states are Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and Texas when it comes to support, the way they do it, town shut down, all that stuff. And I'm sure there's some like up in the Pennsylvania area, Ohio, but I'm not familiar with those.
No, I mean, but they do. They're passionate about their high school football in the Midwest too. I think. I mean, I've heard. I don't know, but I know in Texas, man, it's such a big deal there, and the money they put into it is just mind blowing. It's mind blowing when you see these stadiums that sometimes 3 teams can share, but in many cases, like in Allen, Texas, 1 team plays in a stadium that's bigger than most colleges, small colleges. It's amazing to me.
Well, here's what I will tell you, because I deal with a lot of those high schools. We handle Buford. We handle a lot of, I mean, we probably got 85 to 100 schools in Georgia. The difference there is when their kids go play at like Arkansas State, or they go to Toledo or Bowling Green, those type of schools, they're like, this is taking a step down from my high school.
Yeah, it's true.
It is. It really is from their facilities and what they get and stuff like that.
You look at the MAC on in the middle of the week when they show those games, and the place is empty. It looks like a high school stadium in somewhere in Mississippi. But these stadiums, these high schools are building these days. I saw pictures of a high school that has been built and finished in Prosper, Texas, which is about an hour north of Dallas, downtown Dallas. And that place looks like the Taj Mahal. I mean, it's a high school that looks like it's in the future sometime.
It looks like a fancy hotel.
It's incredible, the facilities they put these kids through. They give these kids these opportunities. And then we're over here dodging staph infections, in Alachua County. I swear to God, I'll never forget walking into the Gainesville High School weight room. I mean, I walked in that one time when Jack was at GHS, and I turned right around and said, "Man, they need money. They need money, or they need somebody to help them, because this is tragic."
Well, they play on a terrible field out at Citizens as well.
Oh, and then that thing. Why they don't bulldoze that and put something there that's nice is beyond me. Yeah. It is exactly. This is East Gainesville for you, folks. If you're not listening in Gainesville, let me give you a picture of Gainesville, Florida. Everything east of 13th Street in 55 freaking years has not changed, basically. And you can go down Waldo Road is what we call it, and it's Highway 301 essentially. And you can get there and look at that stadium that these high schools play in, and it is exactly the same as what I performed in during the Junior Olympics when I was 6, back in 1960 freaking 9 or 70. It is exactly.
What were your events in the Junior Olympics?
It is exactly the same. And that was 50 some odd years ago. It's just incredible to me how they don't give a shit about these kids and their facilities here in Gainesville, Florida. And I'll say that until the day I die. And this is a town I was born in. All right. And everything east of 13th Street and basically 34th Street is exactly the same as it was when I was born here. That's just bull.
That's just facts. Facts, JC, facts. Electronics World, integration and design specialist for smart home automation and entertainment. It's Gator season, y'all. Let Electronics World bring the Florida Gators, college football, and the NFL to your living room. Go check them out at electronicsworld.net. JC, did you watch any of the golf yesterday?
Yeah, I did. And I tell you what, the course is giving them fits, man. Some of these
Except for Bobby McIntyre, he had no problems.
That's right. A lot of the guys you picked are, well, there's only one that's in negative number. That's Russell Henley at -1. You got 2 guys at +4 and 2 guys, one guy at +5 and 1 guy at +1. I have 2 guys at +2, 2 guys who are even, and 1 guy at +1.
So none of our golfers are worth a damn.
Well, I mean, after the first round, it's proven to be difficult. I've got JJ Spawn and Rory at even par. You've got Russell Henley at 1 under. And if anybody thinks that Scotty Scheffler is not going to win this, I would go ahead and just take that bet. Because
are you betting Scotty Scheffler?
I think the only way you can bet him is if you get any semblance of plus odds. But my 4 plays right now after the first round is Ludwig Oberg, top 5 at plus 225. I've got Robert McIntyre at plus 500 to win. That's 5-1. He's already 8 under. I've got Tommy Fleetwood to win at plus 700. And then I've got Ben Griffin, top 5 at plus 300. And after today's round, I'll probably play 4 more guys or 4 more spots. And that'll be my 8 picks for this weekend. And we'll see how it goes. You can win a couple of bets. You can take a winner. You can win a top 5. You can win a top 10. But I wouldn't touch Scheffler unless he's plus odds because it just doesn't pay you. But he is that good that it's one guy against many, and he'll probably beat all. Okay. And that's what's going to happen. I mean, you can almost predict it. But McIntyre did look great, man. He was striking it and putting it and doing everything right. So we'll see how it goes in round 2. Round 2, and then we get the weekend.
Speaking of Robert McIntyre, I think you think Bobby Mack is listening to the program?
Absolutely.
This text is from Robert on the Titan Mar text line. He says, Shane, the other day you brought up with Buddy Andy Staples' Blue Bloods. I would love for you to ask JC what he thinks about that.
Oh,
let me see if I have it.
The Blue Bloods?
Yeah, I have it right here. I screenshot Andy Staples did his Blue Bloods of college football.
Okay.
Top 12. Here we go. Tell me what you think. I'm going to read them all and you tell me.
Yep.
Alabama, Florida State, Georgia, LSU, Notre Dame, Miami, Oklahoma, Michigan, Tennessee, Ohio State, Texas, and Southern Cal.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
He said missing the cut is Auburn, Clemson, Florida, Nebraska, and Penn State.
I think he's basing this on traditions and basically championships.
But okay. Having said that,
okay,
Florida State over Florida?
No, they don't have as many championships. No,
I think they have the same amount.
They have 3.
3.
They have 3.
I think Tennessee has what? They have some back when General Neyland was the coach.
Did Florida State? Yeah, okay. I can see where Florida State, with all those ACC titles, can get in there.
Again, I don't know what his
when Penn State
criteria was for this.
I think when Penn State was really good, they were independent before they got to the Big Ten.
Well, they missed the cut. They're not one of his 12.
Okay, they missed the cut. And Ohio State was where? Where were they?
They're in his top 12.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, USC has fallen on some hard times in the last 20 some odd years. That's for sure. I mean, I don't think, that's not necessarily true. I guess Pete Carroll, if you have to go back, but I think it's pretty accurate. I mean, I don't know who else you're going to add. You can't add those schools that played in the 40s like Army and Yale.
I don't think he's saying add. I think some people are like, why is this team in and that team's not? I mean, it's his opinion, and I just
he's just going off historical fact is all it is, right? I mean, and Blue Bloods to me though have to carry some sort of elitism today as well, and some of those teams you mentioned are not. Florida State is not right now elite; they are pathetic, and they are trying to work their way back in. But they have a history, yes, they do. But Clemson right now, I think, is a better program than Florida State's. QB, do you?
Say that one more time.
Clemson is a better program today than Florida State, and has been.
Not even close.
And so Florida State, to be a blue blood in some respect, I think you got to have some sort of, like I said, elitism today, as opposed to just a great resume. Nebraska had a great resume and had maybe one of the best teams that ever played football in 1995. But what's gone on since then? You can't say that that's a school that they even changed conferences. So I wouldn't put them in the same light as an Alabama. No way. Not Nebraska.
Real quick, Shelvin on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, says, so I've heard you guys talk about Gainesville area sports for years. What do you believe the solution is? Give me some handles and specifics. I don't mean it smarty pants. I'm just curious, no dog in the fight.
That's easy.
It's just simple. They have terrible facilities across the board. Every high school. I would say Oak Hall probably has the best because they're a little private school. They do a tremendous job there with what they do. But from a public school standpoint, I don't think you could find any place worse.
There has to be a financial commitment. Yeah. Taxpayers have to agree to go ahead and let some of that money flow there. And commissioners on both the city and the county have to care. And since none of that happens, then you won't see any results. But that's where it goes. The money comes from people like you and I who are paying these ridiculous taxes in Alachua County. So why do you live there, JC? I get it. But we pay these ridiculous taxes. It then goes to these people who decide where to apportion the money. And very little of it, if any, goes to what we're talking about.
Right.
So instead,
I mean, it's a prime example of why we don't have any golf courses in this city.
Those take a lot of money to run, but guess what? The government bought a golf course. It's called Ironwood, and the greens are dirt. And when you fly over,
the city doesn't care.
Right. And when you fly over Ironwood, you literally feel like you're flying over a landfill. So that if your plane crashes before it lands, you're landing in a landfill. Okay. So that is what the government-owned golf course looks like. That is a template for what a government golf course looks like. It's called Ironwood. Just drive over there and check it out, man. Like I said, wear a mask, wear gloves. You may catch a staph infection walking in the bathroom. I'm just telling you, it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing because if I had my name on this golf course and I said, you know what, I'm in charge of that place, I think I would take a little bit more pride in what it.
Well, the person that used to be in charge of it tried very hard. He's no longer there.
He was just an employee, bro.
Well, I know, but right.
He had no power. He was just running the place.
Correct.
The people sending his paycheck to him, whatever little amount it was, those were the people who had the power, and they don't care. So that's.
Did you think we were going to spend 30 minutes on talking about?
You know what? This is a good issue because we haven't.
It's a great issue.
We haven't kicked the ball off yet, so I'm fine with this because in 2 weeks I can give you the TV lineup, but you can look that up on your own.
So 31 Ember says Bethpage is a government-owned golf course, and so is Torrey Pines.
But they care.
They care. That's the key.
Those people care. Those people who run the apportionment, they care about where the money goes in terms of those courses. Because here's why. They see a return on investment. They see tournaments coming. They see players coming. They see visitors coming. And that's great. You build it and they will come.
It's not so much that, JC. It's about
that's a lot
it's
of
about buying into it and caring because the Ocala Muni is a great golf course.
It's a great golf course. And
they care. That's the key. It's about caring. It's
about
caring. Do you care about the Little League youth ballpark?
Yes.
Do you care about where the high school kids play their football games? The answer is obviously no. I've been through it. I see it on a daily basis. Okay.
But to care of it, a lot of times people need to see some sort of return on what their energies are going into. And you get that at Torrey Pines. Dude, you got people sleeping in the parking lot at Bethpage Black waiting to get on. So, I mean, that's fine. I get it. But this place is a joke. It's an embarrassment, and it's a bad reflection on the people making decisions.
So, JC, before we get you out of here.
They don't care. I know. You're getting tired of me politicizing.
Yeah, I mean,
we've
been beating a dead horse for 15 years.
Well, people need to hear it, bro. If you just don't say anything, it's not going to change. You got to make something happen, bro.
Graham, real quick, I wanted you to give some Peachland Dental picks for the people over the weekend.
Yeah.
Graham says, where do the high school golf teams in Gainesville play? Oh, that's a great question.
They play right over here. I saw the Buchholz boys yesterday playing right over here.
Hale.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, I do know where the Ocala high schools play. They got great golf courses to play their high school.
There's so many golf courses down there, bro. It's so impressive what they've assembled down there in Ocala. Marion County is impressive. Marion County as a county is impressive.
Agree.
There's no doubt about it.
So do you have any Peachland Dental picks, JC, for the loyal listeners across the world?
Well, I gave you the golf. All right. So again, golf, Ben Griffin top 5, Fleetwood winner, Robert McIntyre winner, and Oberg top 5. All of that's as good as 2 to 3 to 1 or better. And then in terms of, I don't do preseason football. I don't know anybody. I mean, you have to be a special kind of degenerate to do preseason football. I have to give you that if you do that. But I've also been really good with Ben Shelton in tennis. He has really paid. And in what you do is you parlay him with somebody like a Sabalenka or an Alcaraz and get those odds down to try to get yourself at least even money on a bet, which is a good bet. So I've been doing Ben Shelton, and he's been killing it for me. And I think today at plus 125, I'm going to keep riding that horse and take him against Sasha Zverev. Alexander Zverev is a very good player, very tall player. It's going to be a great match at 7 p.m. But you are getting Ben Shelton, who is one of the hottest, most confident players on the tour, who is going to be ranked number 5 after the Cincinnati Masters 1000. You're going to get him at plus 125 if you want that. That's 25 cents for every dollar on top of what you bet. I say jump on that and just root like hell for Ben. That's a good person to root for. You like him. On the women's side, you want to take Iga Swiatek, the Wimbledon winner. You want to take Arina Sabalenka, the best player in the world, and you want to parlay those two. And I wouldn't mind if you took Jasmine Paolini from Italy at plus 160. Aren't you glad you asked now, QB?
I wasn't even listening. I was reading the comments. But I'm glad you gave them some winners. Hey, JC, Tony says on YouTube, brought to you by
Yeah.
Quality Plumbing, someone tell the Marion County Commissioner that JC is impressed. Then, then Barone 71 says, JC for mayor. Let's
Oh,
start
hell
the
yeah.
movement. Make golf great again.
MGGG. There used to be a radio station called WGGG. I listened to it growing up. Steve Russell was like the founding father of WGGG. It was AM 850 at one time, I think. No, that may not be true, but it was a great station. Anyway, make golf great again. MGGA.
Well, I mean, golf is great, except in Alachua County.
Oh, it's just, it's a laughable situation. Although I did enjoy Italian night last night. Great job from Anthony and the cooks and Michael and the chefs over there at Hawkstone, just serving up the sauce, the Italian sausage. I took every ingredient off that table. I said, give me the gluten-free pasta, all right, and put every ingredient you can in this bowl with the marinara sauce. I sat there and ate for an hour and a half, and it was paradise. I'm going to go over there and tell the GM, Mark. I'm going to say, Mark, that was the best dinner option you've had in 15 years since I've been a member here. Let's please do this monthly, or
It's probably some
or twice a month.
jar of ragu.
No. And by the way, ragu is very good. Lots of sugar though. But I think that it was a light marinara sauce, but I had everything in it. It was the gluten-free pasta was delicious. I did not feel bloated.
You can tell that right now we are so tired of talking about practice and injuries.
Well,
and,
listen, people are
and
interested in stuff like this, QB. Come on, I've heard of people talking about it. Says, oh my God, the marinara sauce. I mean, that's
real quick. Charles on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, says, any updates on the new UF golf course? By the way, I saw Fred Ridley the other day.
And
spoke with Fred. He says things are moving along, not as fast as they like.
Never does here.
But
hey,
it's going to happen. I just don't know when. Hopefully we'll be alive, JC. We can go play it and win it.
Same with the Tower Hill course up in Alachua. They've been the governor's been put on, not the governor, but there's been a slowing down of the process up there, but they will eventually get that through. It's really amazing to me how red tape gets in the way of so many things. But at any rate, that's fine.
This day in sports.
We'll get it done.
We'll get it done. Brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. We're a proud member, Stephen Orr Spurrier Banks.
That's right.
Is that going to make you go bank there, JC?
Why not?
Maybe Coach.
I think I have an account there.
I think Coach stands there in the lobby and signs autographs when people come.
No, he doesn't want to do that. That's for sure.
2010 PGA Championship at Whistling Straits.
Oh yeah,
that ain't no Ironwood.
No, God.
Martin Keimer of Germany wins his first major title by one stroke in a playoff against Bubba Watson. I kind of miss the PGA being played right now.
I agree. Yeah, the PGA was the last tournament in August.
It's always in August.
Yeah, always in August. It was great. I wouldn't mind if they wanted to run the TPC in May. I know it gets warmer there, but I think the weather's better rain-wise than March. So we'll see. I don't know, dude. Listen, I'm kind of into this playoff thing now, and the only reason why is because I can hard rock it and monetize it.
Well, we're going to get to Heath Cline, and he's actually going to talk about something that ain't raising hell about facilities and fields and stuff. JC, have a good weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. That's JC Johnson, the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tim. Quick timeout. Come back. We'll be joined by Heath Cline. You're watching and listening to PodUp Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
What's up, everyone? I'm Mike Pouncey, and this is my twin brother, Marquise Pouncey, and this is Life After Football.
Let's go.
We are the owners of Tropical Distillery, and JF Hayden's is our liqueur brand. We have 5 different flavors: a mango, a lychee, an espresso, citrus, and key lime pie. We pride ourselves on not only being a Florida-made brand, but also a cocktail solution. With that being said, cheers and go Gators.
The most important thing I learned from my father was work ethic and integrity. Never veer away from integrity, even if it costs you money.
International Diamond Center owner Heath Cline.
The core value for IDC is to protect the customer.
That means offering the largest selection, uncompromising quality, the strongest warranties, and honest guidance from experts who are not paid on commission. International Diamond Center at Celebration Point. Online, shopidc.com.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Florida Crackers, the brand for original Floridians. Great food and southern hospitality in the center of the University of Brooksville, Florida. FloridaCracker.com. Back to the Titan More Highline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We're joined by Heath Cline from 680 The Fan, also part of the Chuck Oliver Show up in Atlanta. Good morning, Heath. How you doing, my man?
Hey, Shane. How are you guys?
We're doing great. Heath, let's start a little NFL ball first. Preseason training camps are going on. A lot of people that watch this program, they do follow the Falcons, believe it or not. What can you tell us about Kyle Pitts? When's he going to have that season that we all thought he was going to have?
Well, if he's going to, this needs to be the year because he's got a quarterback, which is something he hasn't had since that first year with Matt Ryan. You sort of had one for about half a season with Kirk Cousins, but even there, it was a compromised Kirk Cousins. Remember, at the start of last year, go back and look at that first game where all they're doing is lining him up in the pistol, totally nullifying what his game normally is. He wasn't ready, and they knew he wasn't ready. And so other than that, he hasn't had a quarterback since he had Matt Ryan. And that year with Matt Ryan was before some injuries, and he was good that year. And so this year, he's got a guy in Penix that can play the position, and he's got the desire to get that contract, that next contract, where he's going to get another chance with somebody. Too many teams liked him. He'll get another chance with somebody. But whether or not he gets another chance here, whether or not that next contract is okay, we'll give you a 1-year reclamation contract as opposed to we're excited about your contract, that's on him for this year. And especially with the injury to Darnell Mooney, Shane, I mean, he might be the number 2 target. I mean, Drake London's the number 1 pretty clearly, but Kyle Pitts might go into the year as the number 2 target on this team. He's got to take advantage of it.
You know, I don't follow the Falcons and the NFL that much, but I was just curious, like do you hear, like, the coaches don't come out publicly, but, you know, I think a lot of people knew that Kyle Pitts could be a mismatch. He's a freak of an athlete, just long, rangy. But has anybody complained? What kind of blocker has he been for the Falcons? Or do they even ask him to block anybody?
Depending on who's been here, there's been more times where they've asked him or less, given the scheme. But I don't think people have been particularly wowed by the blocking when he has been asked. And the biggest thing, Shane, is I think people just don't feel like he's been mentally tough. You know, yes, you had a quarterback in Desmond Ridder that they asked you to play with for a year who you don't see many guys, you know this as well as anybody. If you're an NFL starter, to lose your job as an NFL starter on a cheap contract is not an easy thing to do if you're any good. To not even be able to make a team the next year after you were a full-fledged starter for a season, to not even be valued enough to be retained by the Cardinals as a backup quarterback. I mean, he's not good enough. Desmond Ridder's just not accurate enough. He's not good enough. But you can't, as a receiver, therefore say, he's not going to give me the ball anyway. His arm's not good enough. I'm just not going to run my routes. And he did a bunch of that where on tape you could see he's not the guy that's supposed to get the ball, or even he is. And he just sort of a 3/4 route, half route. You can't do that. And I think that's been one of the bigger problems is whether it's because of injuries, frustration, whatever, the effort has not been as consistent as it needs to be for a guy who, you said it, he was expected to be a Superman here, and he has definitely not been that.
Andy's question for you, Heath, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. What's more likely, the Steelers win a playoff game or Mike Tomlin has a losing season?
I guess Mike Tomlin has a losing season just because, we know that Aaron Rodgers was not healthy last year. Even though he got through the year, he was not healthy all year. And the year before, flat out was out for the whole season. Look at what they've got behind him. Even if Aaron Rodgers plays like the best version of Aaron Rodgers that you have ever seen, can he do it for 17 games? If he can't, I don't see how in the world in a division as good as that division is. Okay, let's say the Browns 2 games are wins. Even with Aaron Rodgers, how many wins are you giving them out of those 2 with the Bengals and those 2 with the Ravens? Maybe 1 because the Bengals defense is still so bad. It's just hard for me to see the math for them to get to a 9-win season unless Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy for 17. And I just can't bet on a guy at his age that looks like he's lost the mobility and the athleticism that made him spectacular. He still knows how to run an offense, obviously, but I just can't bet on him to stay healthy for 17. Can you?
No, I agree. What made him great for all those years, obviously his release is ridiculous, but he can move around. He had good mobility, probably better than people realize. Moving in the pocket, getting outside the pocket. He didn't really scramble a lot, but I'm with you. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Steelers. If he can stay healthy, and I think they have a chance, but
Oh yeah, I would never say it can't happen, but I can't. If you're asking me which one I think is more likely, it's like more likely. Everybody thinks because Tom Brady did it that suddenly age doesn't matter anymore, and that's just not real. And we've seen it with way too many other guys. Age does still matter for quarterbacks. And the other thing too, Shane, is look, I got to see the Arthur Smith experience firsthand here in Atlanta. I get that being a coordinator is different than being a head coach, and he had success at Tennessee, but that is a guy who likes him some him. And it's one thing to talk about what you're going to do in meetings and preseason, but during the season, if Aaron Rodgers starts saying, okay, I'm going to start doing what I do, not what you do, that could get nasty, man.
Yeah, you're right. All right, before we move to college football, give me who you think is going to play in the Super Bowl this year. Who are your picks?
I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Bills. They have to win one of these years, right? You would just think they have to. The homer in me wishes I could say Tampa Bay. I probably can't. So I'm going to stick with the Eagles just because there's just enough questions for me about everybody else. I'm not telling you there's no way the Eagles don't take a step back, but right now I'm not sold that Washington is ready to make that next leap. I need to see Detroit with the 2 coordinators that they've had, new guys. I got to see how they look. Jared Goff was one very different player before he started working with Ben Johnson. I'm not saying he's going to go all the way back to being the guy he was when he got to Detroit, but can he be the guy he was last year? I need to see that. I need to see Jordan Love look more like the Jordan Love people were excited about 2 years ago than the Jordan Love this past year. And if I knew J.J. McCarthy could play, I'd say Vikings because I love that Vikings offense. I didn't love J.J. McCarthy as a superstar prospect, and now he's missed an entire year. I don't know what he is.
Yeah, that's a huge question mark. Real quick about your Bucks. Obviously, Trask played pretty well the other night, and I have daily questions. When's he going to get his opportunity? I just think he's going to be a backup in the league for like 10, 12 years. Do you ever see him getting an actual chance to be a starter on a roster?
What he needs is you remember how Doug had the 1 year where he played the 1 game and people were so excited about him. He just started 1 game. I can't remember who it was against. It might have been the Giants. But when he was with the Falcons, he started 1 game and he won it. And people were like, wow, this guy's got a big arm. He looked good in that game. And then that was the year that Vic got hurt and he had to play too many games and things kind of came back to earth. And so he still had a few more years in the league, but he went from being the guy that people are like, oh, if he's a free agent, man, he's going to make some money, to, he's a guy. He just needs a couple of games like that. Baker gets banged up. He gets to run the offense, has a couple of games where he's sharp. I mean, he's a free agent in any given year. I know he re-signed. I don't think he re-signed a long-term deal when he re-signed with Tampa Bay. So if he could just get on the field and play some snaps in the regular season and look good, that's enough. There's not enough quarterbacks to go around. He could get a contract and get a shot, but as long as Baker Mayfield stays healthy and he doesn't get a chance to run this offense and remind people of who he is, yeah, I'm with you. If that doesn't happen, then he may be more of a career backup kind of guy.
And nothing wrong with that. Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it, we stand by it. We got Heath Cline from 680 The Fan up in Atlanta. Join us on the Titan Moore Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Dome. All right, college football. Cranking up here pretty soon. Let's talk about the Gators first. In the season with 4 straight wins, everybody's excited with DJ coming back. Obviously, he's banged up, have some other injuries on this roster. How does Heath Cline view the Florida Gators going into the season?
I got to be honest, I don't quite understand it's been like an auction. Just the hype gets higher and higher and higher on this team. I mean, yeah, okay, last year closing that way, that's impressive. And we all know the stat. DJ Lagway starts, DJ Lagway finishes. They've won every game. That's great. But go back and look at some of those games and you say, okay, I'm not sure I'm blown away by the win over a Tulane team that had already kind of had their season wrecked. I'm not sure I'm blown away by beating a 2-10 FSU. There's a couple of good wins in there, but I'm not going to say, well, winning those games means they're ready to just tear through the SEC. And the health question is enormous. I mean, I like the line, I like the tailback, but I mean, Shane, you've seen him, I'm sure, in a way most people have. Unless you could tell me something I do not know about Bailey as a backup quarterback, this team feels like it's so dependent on a guy that has just not shown us he can get through full stretches of time healthy. I mean, tell me they're going to be a bowl team? No problem. Tell me they're going to be like 10-2? With that schedule, that seems like a stretch to me. And I'm seeing people putting them in the playoff and stuff. I'm like, whoa, what are we doing here? So you tell me that they've got a full season of him healthy, you could sell me just about anything, but that's really hard to do right now.
George on the Titan and Mark text line says, Heath, can you give me a sleeper you have in the SEC and maybe a sleeper across the country that no one's paying attention to?
Well, if you're talking sleeper, I think Big 12. I mean, honestly, pick almost any team that's not already ranked in the Big 12, and you've got a pretty good chance of being right. Because, I mean, look at what they did last year at Arizona State, from last team in the whole conference to making the thing and now being ranked 11th. So I would say pick one of the teams you like. I'm just thinking off the top of my head who got ranked and who didn't, because you can't call a ranked team a sleeper. Maybe a Kansas, maybe a Baylor. If you believe in Dave Aranda as a coach, that Auburn game is going to be a fascinating game. It's not the best game. I mean, obviously we know Texas Ohio State's the best game, but Shane, the most interesting, most important game for both coaches involved week 1 could very easily be that game in Waco with Auburn and Baylor. If they start by beating an SEC team and Sawyer Robertson is the quarterback that they thought that he was coming out of last year, I'll say Baylor. We'll just go with that. Baylor's, again, a longer shot sleeper. But SEC, the teams that are good are all, I mean, there's 10 teams that are ranked. So right. It's kind of hard to dig in and find anybody else on the outside. But, I guess I'll say Missouri. Not because I believe in Missouri necessarily to make the playoff, but if you look at their schedule is as much as you can get a weak SEC schedule, Missouri has one. And they are not ranked. So if 10 teams got ranked and a team that won 21 games the last 2 years is not one of those 10 teams, I guess that makes them a sleeper. So I'll say Missouri for the SEC, but it's not like I'm going to be trying to, pick up Missouri people at the airport. I don't think either.
Everybody always wants to know when I have guests on, like, who are their final four teams in the college football playoffs and who do you think wins the national title? Have you done that yet? Have that in mind, who those 4 teams might be and who wins it all?
I haven't broken it all down yet, just because, again, we got another set of scrimmages this weekend and injuries. But I'll tell you, I think people are selling Georgia way short this year. Georgia was uninspired last year. as a program. It was just not something when you watched them that you felt like you were watching anything close to the standard Kirby Smart has set. And we know how much Kirby Smart loves to motivate his guys with the idea of people don't believe in you, people disrespecting you to the point they just made it up, just outright made it up. Well, this year you don't have to do that. It's Texas that's number one. It's Texas who's supposed to win this conference. Everything I'm hearing is that they love their receivers, that they think they got it right with the transfers. They have a couple of backs that, okay, got to prove it consistently week in, week out, but the talent's there. The line was not very good last year. And that's the one thing I do wonder about, Shane, is that, look, Stacey Searles gets a lot of criticism for his offensive lines, and he has for years. He keeps getting hired by coaches, so obviously they look at him and think this guy can do it. But that offensive line was simply not good enough. They couldn't run the ball last year. When have you ever seen a Georgia team that can't run the ball? And so at least a good one under Kirby, they can't run the ball. And so I think you're going to see a real emphasis on that. And if that line is what they believe it can be and they can run the ball, I think the rest of it's going to fall into place. So I'll say Georgia wins the SEC, and Georgia has enough talent that they're one of the four. I mean, at this point, I know everybody's going to say Penn State. I can't do it. I can't do it, Shane. He hasn't won but one game ever against the top 5 team anywhere. He's only won one. I love Andy Kotelnicki, their coordinator. I love that guy. And if they will let him coach with Drew Aller and with those backs, and now they've added some receiving talent, Penn State might be good enough to get there. But I just cannot believe that James Franklin's not going to keep grabbing the wheel at clutch situations in big games. And history says when he does that, he's not good at it. And not only that, but he's been terrible at time management his entire career. So I'll still say Ohio State because they're loaded, and I've got more faith in them than I do in Penn State, as long as James Franklin in a big game is who you're counting on. So Georgia, Ohio State, we're not exactly getting huge credit here for originality, but it still belongs. And look, I'm going to go ahead and say Notre Dame too. I don't know who their quarterback is. I thought it was going to be C.J. Carr. It sounds like now maybe it's the other guy. But look at their schedule. They've got, if they can get through the first 2 games, look at the next 10 after those first 2 challenging games that they have. They're going to be in the playoff unless they open 0-2. Even if Freeman has his annual game he drops, he's not supposed to Marshall or Northern Illinois like last year. Just look at their schedule and tell me where they're going to lose 3. So if you tell me they're in and you're telling me that they've got experience, that's good enough for me to at least pick them in this thing right now. And then try and think about, I don't buy Clemson. I don't. So I'll go ahead and we'll throw in an extra SEC team, and to spice it up a little bit, we'll say Alabama. So we'll go Alabama, Georgia, and then the other 2 there for the Final 4.
That's good stuff. I wanted to get your thoughts real quick on South Carolina. You covered them for a long time. Do you think they had a really good year last year. Can they back it up?
I'm fascinated to see what happens here, because if you think back, Shane, even in the Spurrier era, as great as that run was, by far still the best 4-year era of their program, and it's not even a conversation as to anybody else, those teams' core identity was more defense than it was offense. I cannot think of a time in my life where South Carolina's primary identity has been they're going to have a whiz-bang offense. Before Spencer Rattler got drafted, they had not had a quarterback drafted. In the entire time they've been in the SEC, they had 0 quarterbacks drafted. That's almost impossible to do, and they'd done it. They'd had guys play in the NFL. Connor Shaw started a game in the league. Dylan Sampson. Heck, Anthony Wright played in the league for a bunch of years. But they had never had a quarterback be good enough coming out of college to get drafted. And here they are with a guy being talked about as he could be number 1 or at least be really, really high. That's just not something we've ever seen, and I'm fascinated to see what it looks like, because their offensive line has normally been average at best and frequently worse than that. They lose some important pieces from that offensive line last year, but they've recruited a lot of young talent, a whole bunch over the last 3 years. So is the line good enough to let them run the ball? We still don't know if Rasul Faison's going to be able to play, Shane. It's today we're going to find out from the NCAA about Michigan. And then maybe after that, they can get around to looking through the papers on their desk and figure out, hey, should we let this kid play for South Carolina football at tailback or not? They've been asking for this for more than 6 months. Like, how hard is it? The answer is yes or no, but you got to give him an answer at some point. So they love him as a tailback, but they don't know if they've got him. So do you have him? Is that line going to gel and let them fully take advantage of the skills of a quarterback? They might not ever have one quite like again. Lost a bunch on defense. I'm fascinated to see what this team is. I'm going to be because they're playing here in Atlanta. I'm going to be able to go and cover that first game with Virginia Tech. I can't wait to get a look at them because it is unlike any team they've ever seen. They're over under 7.5. I'd lean towards the over, but that schedule's mighty tough. I don't know that I could put them into the playoffs. Some people have. I can't do that, but I give them the benefit of the doubt that they could get to 8.
Yeah, Lenoris, I think he's a good player, but he has a lot of Anthony Richardson vibes to me sometimes, makes the explosive wow play and then misses the 5 throws in the flat that were wide open. So we'll see. All right, last thing, the text came in from Jackson on the Titan of our text line, and we've talked about this all summer long, that 4-game stretch for the Gators, LSU, Miami, Texas, and then Texas A&M. He wants to know, what do you predict that 4-game stretch record for the Gators?
Okay, we're going to assume the caveat here is healthy DJ Lagway plays all 4. If they've got that, I'll give them 2 of the 4.
Yeah, 2. You have to go 2-2 to have any chance later in the season, in my opinion. You have to go 2-2.
Yeah, I look, LSU, I got to see the evidence that they've figured stuff out. I know that Blake Baker's a good coordinator, and they'll probably make another step forward on that side of the ball. I like Nussmeier as a player, but even now, I mean, the other day, you got a kid who's a tailback who winds up getting arrested and suspended because he's harboring guys accused of a murder in his dorm room. It just feels like there's a lot of, for a no-nonsense guy, to quote the old Don DeVoe line, it feels like Kelly's a no-nonsense guy in a nonsense program right now. And it just doesn't feel like they've got it together. I think you like having LSU early in the season if you're Florida rather than catching them late. I know you beat them late last year. I think you like catching this team earlier in the year if you're them. And Shane, I'm curious what you think about Joe Sloan, because the drop-off from Denbrock to Sloan seemed meaningful to me last year. I'm curious to see what Sloan is in year 2, because year 1 didn't blow me away at all.
I agree with that 100%. Heath, appreciate your time. Time flies when Heath's on. Let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter, listen to you up in Atlanta, and all that good stuff.
It's Heath Radio on Twitter if you want to follow along, or if you want to look at some vacation photos or whatever. You can always do Instagram too. Who knows? But Heath Radio, and then we're on, as far as I know, there in Gainesville, noon to 2 every day on the Chuck Oliver Show. You can follow us on the Twitter there at Chuck Oliver Show, and yeah, I pop up all over the place on 680 The Fan in Atlanta. I'm on, Sunday this week. I'm on for a couple hours from 10 to like noon. And then next week I'm on, I don't even know, it's Saturday or something. I'm all over the place on 680, the afternoon drive Monday. So tune into 680 The Fan. Eventually I'll turn up.
Appreciate your time, my friend. And we'll talk to you soon.
Anytime, man.
Yep, that's Heath Cline. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tip. Miapolatin Cafe, proud to support Gator Nation for 22 years. New location opening in Latchford, new building, same great food with a smile. Check out one of our 5 locations today. Appreciate everybody chiming in. I want to thank Heath and JC. And everybody have a great weekend. And we're getting closer and closer. We'll see you on Monday. Take care.